Well, it finally happened, and I am in shock. Absolute shock. After the Yankees announced earlier today that the facial hair rule that had become so controversial around Major League Baseball among fans of the Yankees, non-fans of the Yankees, among haters, among casuals, it's done. It's gone. And I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be talking about Aaron Boone's extension. I know the Yankees are currently playing during the first game of spring training. That's exciting. Until maybe Marge Judge is still out. I don't know what's going on with him. He'll be sad. Whatever. I'm not wasting. Not that I'm not wasting my time. Like, what can I possibly learn in an exhibition game, essentially, that I won't learn over the course of the next couple of weeks. So I'm not watching spring training. Maybe I'll pop it on right after this. But first off, I needed to get on here and comment about this because it's shocking. It really is, as you can tell by the title. The Yankees, if you missed it today, announced that the grooming policy that they had, which again was so infamous at this point in time, that George Steinbrenner implemented 50 years ago in 1975, is over and done with. And this is the official statement from Hal Steinbrenner. In recent weeks, I've spoken to a large number of former and current Yankees spanning several eras to elicit their perspectives on our longstanding facial hair and grooming policy, and I appreciate their earnest and varied feedback. These most recent conversations are an extension of ongoing internal dialogue that it dates back several years. Ultimately, final decision rests with me, and after great consideration, we will be amending our expectations to allow our players and uniform personnel to have well-groomed beards moving forward. It is the appropriate time to move beyond the familiar comfort of our former policy. Amazing. Terrific. I was pretty indifferent about the policy. Like, yeah, I thought it was stupid. Yeah, I thought it was pretty antiquated. But it was the Yankees' way of doing things. There's tradition in putting on the pinstripes, and that just happened to be one of them. But as the time went on and the years went on, I'm like, okay, this is kind of stupid. First off, there are players in the Yankees that just don't look right without beards. They grew beards before they came to the Yankees. They came to the Yankees. They look like a baby the second they shaved their beards off. So that's good, okay? These guys can now grow beards. I feel for a guy like Devin Williams, who, listen, man, I could tell that beard that he was working with before he came to the Yankees, he was growing for a long period of time. Now they say this, if I were him, I'd be pretty pissed, but at least it's happening. At least the Yankees came to their senses and ended, again, what was an antiquated policy that the majority of baseball fans just didn't agree with. And to their credit, the Yankees have said, and have come out and said now, even Aaron Boone and Hal Steinbrenner and Cashman, essentially saying that, if one player didn't want to come to the Yankees because of the policy, that's one too many. Damn right. Damn right. You can't at this point in time, with how players think these days, the era of player empowerment across all of sports is now taking the place of, not obedience to your employer, but the employee-employer relationship used to be different in sports. It's now gotten to the point where players have a lot of power. So in this case, if there was one player, Vlad Jr. being one of them, because he's upcoming free agent, so he's that one guy that maybe they change this for. But if there's one player who says, I don't want to play for the Yankees because I want to grow a beard, yeah, I mean, listen, I get it. I completely understand. And again, this is the right move. I was pretty indifferent about the whole thing. I think that it's good to have tradition, but it's also good for teams to come to their senses when it comes to these types of things. And I think this decision is yet another example of how Steinbrenner further distancing himself from the legacy of his father. Like, since his father died in 2010, since George died, this franchise has been run a little differently. Like, the Yankees aren't throwing money at everyone and their mothers. Yes, they're still on big free agents. Yes, they still spend a big amount of money, but no, they're not spending as much as the teams that spend the most in the league. Like, no, they're not spending above the luxury tax, or at least they don't want to stay. At least they don't want to go above that. So that's Hal Steinbrenner's legacy. I think this just further distances himself from his dad's policy, and this was his dad's policy. This is George. Like, this didn't date back to the Yankees of the 1920s. Murderers Row didn't have, freshly, groomed mustaches and didn't have beard. Like, they had facial hair back then. Like, the players had facial hair. And the second George took over, this is something he implemented, and it lasted 50 years. Good riddance, it's gone. Good riddance. You know, like again, I keep saying this, I keep repeating, but I was indifferent. It was whatever to me. Like I understand. I understand the need for traditions. I understand the need for, you know, the various things the Yankees present themselves as, and that was one of them. Like, you're on the Yankees, you better look the part. And yeah, it's another thing that I wouldn't say tarnishes the legacy of George, but kind of deviates away from the legacy of George. This is not the team of George Steinbrenner anymore. This is Hal Steinbrenner's team. And a decision like this wouldn't have been made by George. Like, you know George. You knew George. He was a guy who was no nonsense. This type of stuff would have lasted forever. And it's not, which is amazing because now the Yankees won't lose out on any more players who don't want to come to them because of that stupid rule. And again, I didn't mind it. I didn't at all. But yeah, you've heard multiple, you know, Yankees brass guys essentially coming out and saying the reason why we did this is because we don't want to lose any free agents. We don't want to lose guys that we want to trade for because they want to play for us because of the rule. And once that starts happening, it's like, okay. And as I said before, this is the new era in sports of player empowerment. You know, some leagues less than the other, MLB being one of them, with probably the weakest CBA for players. Like, when you look at all the other leagues, guys are able to hold out a lot easier than they can in Major League Baseball. With the guys in Major League Baseball, you know, you got a guy like Alex Bregman, a guy like Blake Snell last year, Jordan Montgomery, guys who are all expected to get a lot of money in free agency. Teams, how they hold a lot of power over the players. That's just the way it is. Like, if the value's not out there, you're not going to get that money. And you can't hold out because who's going to pay you? So it's a different sport, but at the same time, you know, star players, the top players in the game command more power. You look at Juan Soto, what he got in that contract. Insane incentive. Like he needs his family to have like professional security around them. He needs his family to have a box in games, a suite. He needs his family to have 4 amazing tickets a game, every home game. In years prior, no one is getting that. And you saw that with Judge, you saw it with Jeter, all these guys who didn't get that from the Yankees. So the Yankees have a code. This is one they were willing to let go of. So again, if this helps the Yankees get more free agents, if it kind of takes away from the whole Yankees like stubbornness and like the negative perception that's out there of the Yankees, then amazing. Amazing. I'm indifferent, but I'm happy that it's done. Another thing I wanted to talk about today, and I know the Knicks are playing one of the biggest games they have all year. I'm going to get to that a little bit at the end. Knicks Cavs in Cleveland tonight of the second end of a back-to-back. The Knicks played an OT last night. They're without OG Anunoby, probably without Josh Hart as well. The last I checked, the Knicks are 8-point underdogs to the Cavs, which I think is a little far-fetched, but, you know, that may hit. I don't know. But we're going to get to that at the end. I want to talk about the Boone extension. And this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. Aaron Boone, Yankees manager now for 8 seasons, I think 7, maybe. I think 8 seasons, is going to be extended, has been extended until the 2027 season. So he's been extended 2 years. Oh, God. I mean, like, I know that this is a controversial topic, and I know that there are plenty of Aaron Boone apologists out there among Yankees fans. I'm not one of them. I never have been. I don't understand the hype behind Aaron Boone. Like, I understand the hype behind him for a front office, the fact that he's a yes man, the fact that he will never publicly criticize any one of his top players. I get that. I understand the draw to a manager like that from a front office. But from a fan, when you're constantly watching your teams go out there and underperform in big moments, when you're constantly watching your teams make terrible mistakes, whether it be in the field or on the base paths. I mean, look what we saw in the 5th inning of Game 5. Like, it doesn't bear repeating. It doesn't need to be repeated. What happened there. And like, I understand, the Boone apologists want to say, oh, but he's not the one who's out there making the errors. He's not the one out there getting thrown out constantly. He's the manager. Like, think about all the mistakes you made in youth baseball, youth basketball. If you were coached well, the teams that were coached well did not make terrible mistakes. They didn't make silly mistakes. And the Yankees constantly do. And you heard all the shit the Dodgers talked after winning the World Series. Hey, we're just going to put the ball in play and see what happens. The Yankees are prone to big mistakes. And guess what happened? They made big mistakes. And the reason why the Dodgers won the World Series so handedly is because of those Yankees mistakes. It wasn't because of a lack of talent. It wasn't because of a lack of performance. It's the Yankees did not make the easiest plays on the field. Plays that, little leaguers make look easy. They didn't do that. And honestly, all that shit the Dodgers talked was completely warranted. And now the Yankees are doubling down by bringing back Aaron Boone, who has fostered this environment of mistakes being made in the field being okay. Being okay. And I love this comment from my boy Drew. Drew says mistakes will happen. The repetitive mistakes not being corrected is the troubling part. 8 seasons. 8 seasons of Aaron Boone. And what happened at the start of his tenure as manager continues to happen now. And it happened on the biggest stage. And then to make matters worse, you have the team that won talking shit and telling Yankees fans and telling everyone in the baseball world exactly what Yankees fans know. That the Yankees don't execute. They don't make the easiest plays in the field. And now you want to tell me, Gleyber Torres is off the team, Alex Verdugo, like these guys who, I wouldn't say Verdugo as much, but Gleyber, very lazy on the base pass. Very lazy in the field. Made a lot of errors at second base. He's off the team now. Watch him become a Gold Glover with the Tigers. Like this is where we're headed. And I get it. I understand you want to look at the personnel. So it's either we're blaming Aaron Boone or we're blaming Brian Cashman for bringing in guys that are prone to making mistakes like that. Pick your poison. I choose to blame the manager of the team, who it just doesn't feel like he's got that much control over his locker room. And not in like a vibes way. The players love him. I'm talking about with what we see on the field. It's not good enough. They don't tighten their shit up. They make silly mistakes constantly. And as I said, the Yankees are doubling down on Aaron Boone, signing him to a 2-year extension through 2027. Again, I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed, but not surprised. And you hear, I don't understand this. You hear this all the time with the Yankees, whoever they employ. I forgot if it was Brian Cashman or someone else said, we love Aaron Boone. If Aaron Boone was fired, another team would swoop right in and hire him. Come on. Based off what? Based off what? That he's a yes man for a front office and he's not going to talk back. He's not going to create issues. He's going to listen to the analytics until it comes back to bite him in the ass. What the? I can't do this. I'm like, this is where I still am traumatized by what we witnessed in Game 1 of the World Series. What the hell did the analytics say about that? Bringing in a guy like Nestor Cortez over Tim Hill. What did they say? Because anyone in their right minds knew that Tim Hill had it. That was the Yankees' lefty specialist. And instead, they put in Nestor Cortez, who hadn't pitched in weeks. And instead of being up 1-0 in the series, you're down 0-1. And the Yankees lost that series because of what happened in that game. That set the tone for the rest of the series. For the Yankees to go down 3-0. And to make a comeback, to win Game 4 in the matter they won Game 4. And then in Game 5, to be up 5-0. And to blow that game, in the matter they blew that game. Now we're rewarding Aaron Boone with an extension. You couldn't wait to see what happened this year? You're extending him before the season? How much leverage does he have on you? Maybe they are right. Maybe there are teams out there who'd be dying for Aaron Boone to be their manager. I highly doubt it, though. The Yankees fall in love with these types of guys. Guys who were just going to go along with whatever they said. Oh, analytics say that? Sure. Sounds good, Brian. Sounds good, nerds in the analytics department. This is what the Yankees wanted. They grew frustrated with what Joe Girardi said. His public criticism, specifically of Gary Sanchez. Look how that one turned out. Turns out coddling doesn't work. Gary Sanchez is on his 15th team in the last 5 years since being with the Yankees. Whoop-de-doo. And now Aaron Boone is back for another 3 seasons at the minimum. I don't know what to say anymore about it. I've criticized the guy so many times. You could say he carried his team. No, I wouldn't say carried. You could say that he brought his team to the World Series. As a Yankees fan, even I could admit that Mickey Mouse run to the World Series. If he won the World Series, that would be a different story. But it was the manner in which they lost the World Series. I think that is the most telling representation that you could get of Aaron Boone as a manager. Their performance simply wasn't good enough. And again, it wasn't a lack of talent. It wasn't roster construction. It was silly mistakes. Mistakes that if they went the other way, we could be talking about a 5-year extension for Aaron Boone because he won the World Series. But we're not at that point. And if you're just joining now, I'm talking about the Yankees extension of Aaron Boone. I discussed the Yankees' shocking reversal of their facial hair policy. That was earlier on in the live stream. I did that for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm still in shock over that. I can't believe it. But more on Boone. Look, he's got a really good record. He's about, I think, 58, 60% win percentage. Listen, it's 603 and 429, 584 winning percentage. I don't know why this is a part of it. 108 overturned challenges and 39 ejections. Pretty insane. 3 first place finishes and 3 second place finishes. 100 wins twice, 90 plus wins 5 times. After these 2 years, he will be the manager of the Yankees for 10 full seasons, a decade of Aaron Boone. And it's been 7 seasons under Boone. He's going to be the manager for at least the next 3 seasons. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that's what the Yankees do. And you look at the American League. You look at the potential competition. There are a few teams that match up well against the Yankees. The Yankees, on paper, should be the favorites to win the American League again. They are a solid team on paper. They have some of the best pitching in all of Major League Baseball. But they've got a manager whose teams have not corrected their silly mistakes that they've repeated time and time again. That is why, again, not surprised, but disappointed that the Yankees will never learn their lesson when it comes to Aaron Boone. How much more do we have to witness of the Yankees not being a well-managed team before they make a change? What has to happen? The Yankees didn't make the playoffs last year, 2 years ago. They came back, traded for Juan Soto. Of course, we know how that turned out. But the Yankees finally got that solid lefty in the lineup. One they don't have anymore. Cody Bellinger's not that guy. He's not. And if he turns it around and becomes what he was when he was an MVP, I'd be shocked. I highly doubt that will happen, though. The Yankees don't have that big lefty in the lineup. That was the one thing the Yankees needed so desperately. They finally got it. It wasn't Aaron Boone that led them to the World Series. The fact that they actually had a solid roster construction. CBW says the Yankees are plus 310 to win the AL. I'm assuming that's like the favorite odds. I think it should be better than that. Should be better odds than that. Again, with this team, it shouldn't exactly be a cakewalk. The Rangers have a lot of talent. Jacob deGrom is healthy. We'll see how long that lasts. But they're in a good position. their middle infield is a trillion times better than the Yankees? Because the Yankees didn't want to go get Corey Seager. They also didn't want to get Bryce Harper. So this isn't just on Boone. The lack of success. The silly mistakes in the field. The roster construction before last year had been abysmal. Never good enough. How many times did we say the Yankees needed a big lefty bat in the line? First, it was Greg Bird. What was he going to be? Bust. A bum. Who else? Didi Gregorius. Bum he turned into. Had one good month. And a big home run in 2017. He turned into what? Nothing. Now he's hanging out in spring training with the Yankees because his career is done. Love Didi. Yankees favorite. Did a commendable job stepping into the role that Derek Jeter vacated when he retired. Not as the captain, but as the shortstop. Did a pretty good job. But what other guy has been the lefty bat for the Yankees? So you could blame that. The Yankees' lack of success. I'm just dying to see what this team would look like under different, I would say ownership, because Hal Steinbrenner doesn't want to pay, but under a different manager. How that would be. It couldn't hurt to try. It couldn't. But the Yankees like to continue to lose. This is what the Hal Steinbrenner era is going to be defined as. Unless the Yankees get their shit together. But I don't know how you could look at the Dodgers lineup, pitching staff, relievers, and think you have any chance to beat them. Not just the Yankees, any other team in the league. Why can't the Yankees just say, screw it? The amount of money they were making from Gates, the amount of money they were making left and right from jersey sales to whatever, why the hell can't we spend like the Dodgers are spending? The Yankees don't have that mindset. It is just such a flawed organizational mindset from top to bottom. Today marked a step in the right direction. After yesterday, of course, they took 3 steps back by re-signing Boone. Today, they started off with ending a rule that had become one of the laughing stocks of Major League Baseball. Became a joke. It was a meme. And something that casual baseball fans and haters of the Yankees love to call out. Now the Yankees have finally admitted this could be a problem in bringing in potential free agents and trade candidates. So they axed it. And good. Because the Yankees need anything they possibly can get to try to be able to lure these free agents in, because the Yankees don't have the same pull they used to. They simply don't. And it was just a terrible look last year when the Dodgers dismantled the Yankees, again, in a winnable series for the Yankees, and they went on and talked as much shit as possible. As much shit as possible. And Aaron Boone's response was soft as hell. We'll take note of that. How about you change your methods? How about you actually start becoming a good manager and chewing out guys for silly mistakes and not coddling everyone and their mothers? How about you do that? So that's who we're going to have to deal with the next 3 seasons. Aaron Boone is back after this latest extension. He will be the manager of the Yankees for a full decade. A full decade. 1 World Series performance. 1 World Series appearance to show for. And countless times getting dicked around by the Astros. That will be Aaron Boone's legacy. I don't see how they're going to win anything this year. I don't. What set the last Yankees team apart was the fact that they had a generational lefty bat in the lineup. It's what they were so desperately needing the last 7 seasons before that. They finally got it. Finally. And look what happened. They blew the World Series. And they don't have that guy anymore. So whoop-de-doo. Aaron Boone's back. Yankees facial hair policy. That's actually a pretty positive thing. Again, I was pretty indifferent about it, but terrific. Amazing. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the Knicks play tonight against the Cavs. Again, as I mentioned before, they are 8-point underdogs. I don't know what the hell's going on with OG Anunoby. I'm concerned at this point. This is how the Yankees too. This is how the Knicks go about things when it comes to the injuries. There's no transparency. OG Anunoby with a non-contact injury February 1st against the Lakers. He's diagnosed with the sore foot. 3 weeks later, a sore foot. He's still out. So no one really knows what's going on there. Josh Hart, I'd assume he's going to be out again with the knee issue. Mitchell Robinson being ramped back up. He should be back, I assume, in the next couple of weeks. So listen, tonight is going to be a difficult night, difficult game for the Knicks against the Cavs, the top team of the Eastern Conference. I believe 8 games ahead of the Knicks in the East, if I'm not mistaken. And one of the most talented teams in the league. They just added DeAndre Hunter. One of the biggest moves at the trade deadline. Top 5 biggest move at the trade deadline. A lot of stuff happened. So they're going to be a difficult test tonight for the Knicks. Of course, after last night when the Knicks somehow got into an overtime game with the Bulls. I don't know why the Bulls have played the Knicks so well this entire season. Even with Karl-Anthony Towns' generational performance after generational performance against them. I can't explain that. So it's going to be a tough test tonight for the Knicks. I was thinking about doing a live stream about that, but I don't know. Let's save that for next week. Let's save the live streams for next week. I want to do something on the Yankees. That was more important. Of course, with all this news. And we'll see. We'll see what happens with this Yankees team. And again, more Knicks content coming. One giant step this morning just dropped with myself solo without Sean. I talked about the 5 most ideal free agent signings that I'd like to see the Giants have this offseason. So check that out. Link is on my feed, my X Twitter feed, whatever the hell you want to call it. So check that out. That's some good stuff right there. Good podcast. So yeah, more Knicks stuff coming, more Yankees stuff now as spring training gets underway. I'm going to pop that on the TV, watch the Yankees play a meaningless game in February. So that'll do it for today's live stream. Everyone enjoy your weekends, and I'll talk to you all next week.